Today I'm going to be talking about the 7 types of people who can never be entrepreneurs. In my last video, I was talking about the 7 lessons that I've learned in my journey as an entrepreneur in Africa, and I'm hoping that through this channel, as I share some of my experiences and also some of the information that I read as I walk on my journey, you also get to learn what I have learned without actually having to pay the price that I paid in my walk towards becoming an entrepreneur. So let's just get to it. Now, the first person who can never be an entrepreneur is a person who offers no value. What do I mean by this? You know those type of people that if you ask them, what are you good at? They just say, I don't know what I'm good at. I'm not sure what I'm good at. Okay? Or the type of person who's not willing to learn new things. You invite someone to come and learn a new skill. They're either not available, or they don't want to read, or they don't want to participate. If you ask them to do a job for you, for example, they cannot contribute or help in any way whatsoever, even just to lift a brick, to move it from one place to another. That type of person, the type of person who does nothing, is not valuable. So if you're not valuable, you cannot be an entrepreneur, because remember, entrepreneurship is about you offering solutions to people who actually need something done for them. Then in exchange, they give you money for that value. So the first person, remember, who cannot be an entrepreneur is a person who offers no value. Now, the second person that I want to talk about who can never be an entrepreneur is a person who cannot be trusted to pass the test. Now, this type of person is a person whom, if they are given a responsibility or a task, or they are working somewhere and they are given a position of influence, or a position where they are in control of resources, they cannot be trusted to be a good custodian of those. In short, if you're a thief, you cannot be an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur is a person of integrity. So entrepreneurship is not for those people who like cutting corners, or for people who think they want to get ahead by cutting corners, or want to get ahead by shortchanging people. That is not entrepreneurship. That is being a con man or a con person, whatever it is. So entrepreneurship is for people who can be able to pass the test, a person of integrity. The third person who can never be an entrepreneur is a person who thinks government will provide value. Now, typical traits of this type of people, for example, they think that there should be laws that should be passed to make the rich to be equal to the poor, or who think things should be distributed equally by government, which should come and impose some kind of legislature which is going to take away money from the rich and give to them so that there's equal ground to play, or who actually think that for them to get a fair chance at doing things, those who are actually making it, or who are entrepreneurs already, should be kicked out by some policies going to be made. For example, if it's an expatriate who's in your country, and you think that there should be laws which are put in place so that all expatriates are pushed out and you then get a chance to make it in business. Or a person who thinks that for their thing or business to take off, government must fund them, government must provide a market for them, government must make sure that all the conditions are set for them before they actually start. If you're that type of a person, you can never be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is a person who looks at challenges and figures out a way, a creative way of creating value, and then get paid in exchange for the value that they're offering through their innovation. Now, the fourth person who can never be an entrepreneur is the person who sees their career as a way of sustaining them and not as a wealth creating system. Who's this type of a person? Now, this is the type of a person who, when they go to work, they don't view it as an opportunity for them to learn how to eventually run their business. You see those type of people who are always complaining how there's too much work, how they're always getting the short end of the stick at work, how they hate going to their job, how they hate their boss. That type of a person, you can never be an entrepreneur, because remember, entrepreneurship is, again, a practice of the things that you learned while you were still under someone's mentorship. And then you take those skills, you improve on them, and then start offering value on your own, and then get paid or rewarded for them. So if you're a person who's always like at work, you don't see it as an opportunity for you to learn, or you think that the people you work with who give you work are actually bent on just making your life difficult, you can never be an entrepreneur. Another reason why the person who sees their career as a way of sustaining them and not as a wealth creating system is because their brain is not wired to look at the income that they get from their job as money for them, as a seed to start their new enterprise. But Rather, their mindset is, I'm going to work so that I get money to pay my bills, to take my kids on vacation. Not that those things are bad, but if you're going to work with that mindset that all the income you're getting from there is not seed money for you to start something else, then you can never be an entrepreneur, because where are you going to get the capital? Will you go back to the type of person who's expecting government to give them value, to give them that loan so that things work for them? It could work for some, but if you really are going to be aggressive about being an entrepreneur, look and perceive your job as a place where you're going to get the seed money for you to start your journey. And the second reason why a person who is looking at their job as a way of sustaining their lifestyle, and not really necessarily for something that's going to create value or wealth for them, is because those type of people typically will not open up their mind to learn new skills. Because remember, when you become an entrepreneur, it's not because it's not like you're just going to wake up and you suddenly have these magical skills that you can use. But an entrepreneur is a person who's like an apprentice of sort, who learns from everyone and absorbs it like a sponge. And there's no better place to learn at the expense of someone else than at a job. As long as you apply yourself and you try to apply yourself and become the best version of you, whatever skills you learn, they're yours forever, and you can apply them in your own enterprise. The fifth person who can never be an entrepreneur is a person who believes that soft skills are not for them. Now, why do I mention this? You see, as an entrepreneur, you should be a person who should be able to speak to people. You should be a person who's willing to teach people. You should be a person who actually is able to network. Now, all these things, these are soft skills. Granted, there are now some short courses that you can take online that teach you on speaking etiquette or how to network. But generally, these are soft skills. There's no degree per se where you learn how to network with people. It's a soft skill that you must learn. So if you plan on being an entrepreneur, you should learn these soft skills. Speaking, teaching people, creating networks, being computer literate, that's another one. You cannot say you're going to be an entrepreneur in this day and age and not be computer literate. You're clueless on how a computer is supposed to work. So if you are serious about being an entrepreneur and you're in Africa, you need to make sure that you are at least computer literate. You know how applications work. You know how Microsoft Word works. All these are skills that you can learn and teach yourself. You don't have really to take like a proper formal course. But if you want, there are some courses you can take that can teach you on speaking, that can teach you how to use Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. Those are all on the internet. Again, if you want to learn on this, click on my video that I shared last time. There are some links in the description of that video which will lead you to some of these free online platforms where you can learn some of the skills, including some which are actually accredited and you can use to look for a job. Now, the sixth person who can never be an entrepreneur is a person who starts but does not focus on the important things. Now, what do I mean? Now, for example, you might start well. You start gaining your customers as you start, but then as time moves on, you lose focus. You don't work on improving your customer base or maintaining those customers that you have already attained. It's actually more expensive to get new customers than just to maintain the ones that you have. So if you are a type of person who starts something, then you start whatever project you've started on or your entrepreneurship journey, but you do not work on preserving what you've already gathered during that first phase of you starting, you can never be an entrepreneur because your focus is all over the place and whatever you gather scatters. So you must be a person who's focused. You start something, you focus on making sure that you cultivate and get the most out of it. The other thing that is important as an entrepreneur, other than maintaining your customer, is making sure that you've got your hand on the pulse of your numbers of your company. You know your cash flow, you know your profit and loss, you know, and you're constantly looking at that. So if you don't focus on that, because remember, you're starting, other than you starting your entrepreneurship journey to provide value to your customers, because that should be the first and most important thing that you focus on as an entrepreneur. But the other second thing or objective that you're doing, obviously, is for you to get wealth. After all, you also want to be financially free. That's why you're starting this. Because if you're not financially free, you cannot continue to offer people value. You need to be financially stable and free so that you offer more and greater value to your customers. So these are some of the things that you should focus on, or you should make sure that you maintain as an entrepreneur. If you're starting your journey as an entrepreneur, make sure that you focus on the important things. You focus on your customers, you focus on the performance of your business, and you don't forget also why you started the journey in the first place. you are doing it because you want to provide value to people, and then you're going to be rewarded by getting paid for those services. Then the last but certainly not the least person on this list who can never be an entrepreneur is the person who believes that greatness is for others. Now, this might sound obvious to you that everyone thinks greatness is for them, but believe it or not, there are people out there who actually believe that greatness is for others. The type of person that a YouTube channel should be started by someone else and not them. The type of person who believes that the local shop in the community should be opened by someone else and not them. The type of people who believes that they have been destined just to be in their little corner and not ask of much from the world or from God or the universe, or depending on what your belief system is. If you're that type of a person who believes that poverty is actually part of what you are supposed to be, you can never be an entrepreneur. There is a book that I read which is called The Science of Getting Rich. Now, in that book, there's a statement that author wrote where he says, there is nothing that can stand in the way of a man who knows what he wants to be, who believes they can become what they want to be, and are determined to become what they want to be. If you have those three things, nothing can stand in your way. And if you become an embodiment of those three things, the sky is the limit for you. This statement is so powerful in my life that I even quote it in my book that I recently published. Now, to check out my book, please check out the link below. I've put it in the description there. Please do go and check it out. You will learn a lot. I share a lot of lessons also on how I became an entrepreneur, my early years, and also I believe you can learn a lot as an African who's trying to make it out of dire circumstances. Thank you so much. Please remember to subscribe and like my video. Please share your thoughts. I would love to hear what you think of what I just shared in the comments below. And I'll see you next time in the next video.